introduce circles, but we're talking about now equations of circles. And this will be a very, very short video. We're just going to introduce this and show you what you need to know about it, and then we'll move on from there. So here is the standard equation of a circle. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And this is the important part. H, this portion, is the x-coordinate of the center of the circle. K is going to be the y-coordinate of the center. And then the r, whatever is being squared, is going to be the radius. Now, most of the time, you won't see the radius squared. You're not going to see like 5 squared. Instead, you would see 25. So to figure out what the radius is, you would have to take the square root. So if it's 25 on the right-hand side, then you take the square root and you'd say the radius is 5. If it's 49, you would take the square root and say it's 7, etc. Okay, and we will see a couple of examples of this. So when you see the diagram of the circle, it says x comma y, but understand x comma y is going to be any point on the edge of the circle. So it could be over here. It could be anywhere around the edge, okay? And we've already said that h is going to be the x-coordinate of the center of the circle, and k is the y-coordinate. Okay, so that's how we're going to know what the center of the circle is. That's how we're going to know what to put into our equation. So if we're given an equation, we can identify the center and the radius. If we're given a circle, or if we're given values here, then we can write an equation. Okay, so let's get right into these examples. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this. So this is the first example we're looking at. They're giving us a point, and we're given a center. Okay, so we want to write the equation. So let's do as much as we can. So the point means it's on the edge of the circle. The center is where the center is. So what we're going to do is we have our equation, which is supposed to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. What we will do is we don't know what our radius is here, and that's okay. So what we'll do is we will plug in what we know, and then we can solve for our r. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's plug in our x values. So I'm going to plug in the x value, which is 8, because that's what lies on the circle. My h is the x value of the center, so that's minus 4 squared, plus y is negative 1, and k is 2, so negative 1 minus 2 squared equals r squared. So now we just go through and solve this. So this will be 4 squared plus negative 3 squared equals r squared. So that gives us 16 plus 9 equals r squared. 25 equals r squared. And then we take the square root of both sides to solve for r, and we get r equals 5. Okay, so now that we have r equals 5, that's not our answer. We want the equation. So the equation will be with x and y in it, and we'll just plug in our h. So our equation should look like this. X minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared will equal our r squared, which was 25. Don't forget, don't make it equal to 5. Remember, it's got to be r squared. So if your radius is 5, then what's on the right-hand side there has to be 5 squared, which is 25. Okay? So let's look at the second example. These ones are a little bit easier. Okay, we just want to graph it. So what we're going to look at here is notice we have a plus 1. If we have a plus 1 here, that gives us a little bit of a problem, because if we were to write this equation out properly, it would be x minus. Notice the standard form of the equation is always x minus, y minus. So if it's plus, then that means we have an opposite, which means it's x minus negative 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals, and then what we want to do is take the square root of that, so that's the same thing as saying 2 squared. So what that means is we've now identified our h as negative 1. So the center of this circle will be negative 1, and the y value, y coordinate of the center of the circle will be a positive 3. So the minus is supposed to be there, so you want to look at it and think of it as opposite. So if this is plus, then it'll be negative. If this is minus, then it'll be positive. okay? And then our radius is 2. So what we're going to do is we're first going to plot the center, which is -1, 3. So there's the center. And all you do to plot your circle now is go your radius in every direction. So 2 up, 2 to the right, 2 down, and then 2 to the left, and you see that we have a perfect circle. Not really drawn perfectly, but with a center of -1, 3. Okay, so that's it for this video. We're going to work on this more in class. So again, bring questions. Don't forget to take your Edmodo quiz. It'll be real short, couple questions. And like I said, bring more questions tomorrow if you have them. See you then.